We're here with the champions, new tag team champions. What do you have to say, Snooker? A lot of people are saying that the fight was fixed, and Freddie Papadou was definitely not the referee for the night.
No, Freddie Papadou is on. He's a very powerful and very good rep, and I highly recommend him to any match anywhere. He's the best.
This introduction is for, of course, the WCW World Tag Team Championship belt. This belt, I think, was retired in 2001, and now they're again WWE, like everything. They acquired and own everything. But I think the Dudley Boys were the last dudes to hold that belt title. And listed are some of the others associated with that last year reign of the title before it was retired. I'm just, for the most part, going to do a brief review on this belt. It's very impressive. I like this belt a lot because, for the most part, it's very simplistic. And even though in its simplicity, it kind of says a lot. And I think that is a great type of belt, or this is a great example of what you could do with a little bit of less. But if you have a good design, you could certainly capitalize on having something that's going to, I think, stand out in my opinion. There again, all this is just my opinion, but I'm just going to go over a few things about this belt. This belt is like not that complex really in its design. It's just, you know, your typical belt on a nice strap here. And surprisingly, this belt was manufactured. This is one of the belts manufactured by WWE ever since they've pretty much acquired the rights and everything. And there again, mostly all of these championships are under their roof now. For my preference, I like 4mm plate belts. This belt is certainly not that. It's a 2mm plate. However, as you'll see, this belt is a comfortable belt. I mean, it's just a great design. I'm not certain. I have to do some research if this belt is, the strap is made out of polyurethane or not. But, man, it certainly feels like a real leather belt. And there again, looking at the strap, at how it's made, it sits very comfortably on the waist. This belt don't have curve. It's very flat, but it's comfortable because it's a 2mm plate. I can wear this and it not really be an issue. If it had a curve, which is something I could probably, you know, bend in myself, but don't want to take that chance of doing any damage. But it feels good. It's very light. It's comfortable. And there again, it's just it's a sharp looking design. I really enjoy the. It's a little gap here, like put my hands down there, but it's not as pronounced as the big gold because of the big gold plate and it being a lot larger. This gap was really noticeable. Like I said, this is not too bad, but with the big gold, I mean, my whole hand could fit down. I could only get like just the tips of my hand in between here as such, whereas big gold, I could get my whole hand seated in there. For the Fandu version, that was not an issue because the plate being curved, it definitely gave you a better feel. But this is pretty much what it's like wearing this belt. Solid 2mm. Surprisingly, because even if this thing is polyurethane, they just did. It flows and it you know, like any other belt. I'm not sure what the weight size is, but this thing, just whoever designed it, there again, they did a great job. It's very thick here, fits the waist nicely. 2mm side plates as well. And let's go into some of the particulars as to why I like this belt. Let's open it up. There you have it. Snap box here. Side plate on the right. Center plate. Side plate. Really quickly, this is what I love about this WCW Tag Team Champion belt. It's actually one of my favorite designs for these reasons. Let's take a look at the side plates first. So, even though this is a 2mm plate, look at how that's done. The color design there is very nicely done. I'm very thoroughly impressed with just how simplistic this is, but it's so very effective. So you have beautiful palette here and how they've done the colors. I'm assuming this is like just done in one plate. So you have WCW here, little etching design incorporated in the outline or the inner of the letters. And then you see you have your two tag team champions outlined. They're very faint, but it still works. I mean, it would have been nice if they kind of went in there, and I guess they didn't want to conflict with the background here, because this back plate here, I'm not sure why these point out like they do, but this black plate here is the globe. I'm a big fan of these globes, and you kind of see how that outline piece just wraps down in the background there. So you got one tag team outline person here, fist up, forearm, legs bent here. You got one on the right and you got one on the left there. They're very faint, and so because they're not outlined, they don't compete with, I guess, what they wanted to remain pronounced, which is kind of the globe in the backdrop there. WCW is faint. Now that would have been nice if they outlined that, but they didn't do it. But it's still, you get the impression, you know it's there. You can still read that. Beautiful blue. I love that, like almost like powder blue they have there. And then you come on down to the bottom when it's marked and stamped with World Championship Wrestling. Great design. Simplistic, but they're again very effective. So not much stitching here in the belt. That's simplistic in this design. You know, snap box there. I would guess to say that this is not necessarily for the biggest waist person. Most guys that I've seen have the tag team belts. You rarely see these guys wear the belts around their waist anyway. They usually carry them around on their shoulder for promos and so forth. I guess from an accessibility standpoint, it's just easier to do. And now let's go into this beautiful center plate here. These plates aren't even stacked. Now, with like the big gold version, like in some of the serious other titles, not a lot of them, but I'm gonna just keep big gold for the most part as a reference. Like, you know, the more expensive versions done by some of the higher priced belts, you know, they stacked them. Even Fandu, I think with one of their Bob Backlund versions, it's stacked plates, and you have a nice 8mm, some of 4mm plating. But the design quality in this is so nice, it almost gives it a three-dimensional kind of effect. So let's go into that. You got WCW up top here, beautifully done and inked and painted in that red. And what makes this there again, in my opinion, just stand out so much is the fact that the design quality. You have this beautiful eagle here, head of the eagle, wings on the side. They didn't really do a lot. But what, you know, even though they didn't ink that, you still have the etching pronounced there. And because that etching is there, it takes up not only the negative space in the back, but it also kind of gives a nice dimension and depth to this belt. So from afar, if you kind of didn't know better, this globe, they're again a fan of that globe, beautifully done in that nice blue. Got your World Tag Team Champion banner that just wraps and flows in that ribbon design, and it comes around down to this guy here who looks like Mr. Atlas, or who's holding that globe. That is a wicked ass design in my opinion. Beautifully inked here. And just imagine what this would look like if it were a stacked plate. Like if they did stacks for each of these, or a banner here, and if they did a stack globe, that would be like just I think a wicked concept. And it would be nice to see that somebody do a belt like that, a stacked eagle, maybe 4 different. But there again, you don't have to do that. But that's why I favor this belt so much, is because it says a lot without doing it. Behind this guy, behind the banner, they did like I don't even know what kind of pattern design that is, but they did that to fill in. So because this has this little pattern design back here, you're able to, it breaks up that negative space, and this cuts down on that high mirror effect like you would see in like the big gold 2mm version that WWE produced. It has a lot of negative space, and because you have that negative space, it adds to the mirror finish, and that mirror finish, which is nice, it's very flat. But with what they did here, that cuts down on that high reflective quality, and it really works so well. This belt, it's almost an oval shape. It's not a complete circle, and that pattern is pretty much almost repeated right here. You still have an oval there. So there again, and man, that's just a great design. As one of my favorites. This was the second belt that I purchased, and I was extremely satisfied with it and happy once I got it. And I don't even know if I'll get another tag team belt, because like the nickel plated one that's out there that New Day has, the gladiators that they have on that belt, I like. However, I don't know what's up with WWE and going very monotone and just keeping some of those belts very basic. The Intercontinental Championship new belt is another one. Not too much of a fan of. It looks like I mentioned and commented on somebody's page who did a review on it, and I said it looked something like, or reminded me of a giant Super Bowl ring. And that's one of those things that, when you have basic belts like that with no color, I mean, they can come off being really flat, in my opinion. And this is a $1 million corporation or whatever it is. They have the money to, in my opinion, really go all out and make these belts a bit more memorable. And, I just think from a creative process, they're a little lacking. That's my opinion, my personal opinion. Another thing about those belts, look at the old Intercontinental belt, and it has some of those same principles in it, like the way it's stacked and, the lines and the banners. And then look at the new one. Like if you compare those two, major difference there. But this is one of the things that would be kind of cool, if WWE were listening. It'd be nice if they, with what all they have resource-wise, it would be kind of cool if what they did was let the people decide. It'd be cool if what they did is like come up with several options of belts, and then, post it on social media or something, and let your fan base determine, which belt they would like to see produced. Not here on, but every now and then, just give the fans, make them a part of that experience. And, feeling like they helped not design the belt, but have a choice in picking what they would like to see. Another horrible belt, in my opinion, that's extremely flat is that 24/7 green monstrosity of a belt. There again, my personal opinion. But compare that belt to something like this. This has a few simple colors. So let's look at the back here. Back is very simple, like you would get in any other belt. It has a great design. Like I said, if this is polyurethane, it's a nice design for the most part. It has almost like a little texture pattern going on there. You got your rivets there. We got the WWE stamp. Hologram there. and your snapbot. That's pretty much my review. You know, I think this belt is one of my favorites from a tag team perspective. As I said before, it's a belt that just screams less is more. And with just a little bit of like design creativity, you can get something that's like memorable like this.